We're continuing now in Bitzur. So again, the last thing we discussed, I believe, was the concept again of just of the way that Hashem runs the world. The b'derech hashgacha is that Hashem runs the world in a way that obviously Hashem ultimately knows everything that happens. Hashem could know everything. Hashem does know everything. But the way Hashem runs it is that the way that He makes it as if He doesn't know unless we tell Him. Right? So if we have a big test coming up that day, we're like, okay, whatever, I could just like kind of run through Shemana. I don't need to like talk to Hashem, whatever. I don't even really need that because Hashem knows, right? I'd be a kofar to say Hashem doesn't know that I have a big test today, so what's the point of me saying anything? Hashem knows if it's shayach me, He'll help me, whatever it is, right? But ultimately, the point is Hashem says, yeah, you might know, of course I know you have a test, but I'm acting as if I don't. Until you ask me for it, I'm not going to help you, right? That's the idea ultimately, that's supposed to awaken us to daven. We're supposed to have conversation with Hashem and describe these things and recognize that Hashem doesn't hear. Obviously he does, kiviyachol, but Hashem is as if He doesn't hear if we don't tell Him. So that's what we spoke about before. All under this category of Bitzur, calling out in distress, right? This type of tefillah that we're supposed to implement. And again, this is not like a part of tefillah. Like this concept of Bitzur, these types of things are, attributes of tefillah in ways that we're supposed to incorporate into our davening as a whole, right? Sometimes, and you're going to see as we go through, again, Bitzur can be used, and outside of the time of tefillah we spoke about. Any single time, like the brisker Rav, L'Shu Aschal Kivisi Hashem, always putting yourself in a state of distress and calling out to Hashem always, constantly, right? And then also even within tefillah, like using this kind of mindset. But okay, let's continue and we'll see where we're going. So, continuing in page Lamed Aleph. Ube'emes, in truth, Davar Zeh, Hu Inyan Shal Regal Shal Im Kitzas V'ametz Yahapuch Etzel Liyos Leteva. That this Inyan that we're discussing about calling out to Hashem is actually something that it's something that can become like a regular thing with just a little bit of effort. You can change it into something that becomes natural. Vehi mailo niflo she'al kol tzaro inyan nachod shemizdamnim lo la'adam yischanim miyad betfilah katzar la'kadosh baruch hu. And it's something that's possible for every person to achieve, and it's a very high level. It's a mailo niflo that when a person experiences any sort of tsar, any sort of pain, or any sort of affliction about anything, immediately he goes right to do what? To daven to Hashem. Immediately a quick tefillah to Hashem. This is a level that we should all strive to, and he says that it's attainable. Where we said before in the Sefer Chinuch that what? That somebody who is over this, who basically skips it right, is someone who we said before, and the Sefer Chinuch brought the words of the Ramban and says that somebody who is in a Sarah and they don't dive into Hashem, it's as if they basically remove the Hashgacha of Hashem from themselves. They're like, it's as if they're basically saying like, yeah, I don't really believe Hashem is helping me. I don't really believe Hashem is here. And being over and potentially Bitzur Daraisa. Tahare Pashut. Anything that happens, it's pashut, it's obvious. Any single thing that happens to a person. Right? If any sort of situation happens and standing near you is your friend who's able to help you with whatever situation that happened to you, what are you going to do? You're going to call out to him. You're going to ask him for help. It's pashut. He says it's davar pashut. Right? They could go on, for example, somebody goes up a ladder. And he feels like the ladder is starting to shake and trying to tremble, and he feels like it's going to fall down. Naturally, what's a person going to do? It's in a person's nature. He's going to call out to whoever's under him. Go grab the ladder. Help me out, dude. Grab. Right? The imkain. And so too, somebody who knows and feels the reality. Hapshuta. And somebody who's able to feel the same way. Just like a person who's on the top of a ladder and feels it start to shake, knows that he can immediately look right down and he can call out to the person at the bottom just to grab and help him. So too, that's what it feels like. When we get to a feeling of that Hashem, Kirvas Hashem, that Hashem, we feel that Hashem is just the same way. Always there to catch a ladder. Lama lomar pshit pashtos. Why would a person not call out? Ribbonu shalom. Lishu aschal kivisi Hashem. Hashem, right? My master of the universe. Please save me. Give me salvation. Ana b'bakasha. Hashem, please. Hachzekli as a sulam shalapo. Right, Hashem, please grab the ladder. Please don't let me fall. Any sort of situation. Saying that it's part of human nature. Right now, we're discussing the psychology of human nature right now. The psychology of human nature is that it's natural that a person calls out to who's close to him at the moment. If he needs help. Why, when you're getting robbed, you say, help. Doesn't matter who's around. We're going to talk about this in a second. But now we're discussing human nature. And now we're going to connect human nature into, again, understanding how Hashem created the world and how Hashem created us. V'yesh kan. Od nekuda chashuva. There's another tremendous important point here. She'adam b'tiva, that a person naturally, hagam she'em mishu hayado, even when nobody's around, what do we do? Soiku betoch pnimiyuso la'atzmo. Even betoch pnimiyuso, even within our own bodies, our own minds, our own selves, we call out to ourselves. What does that mean? Kigon b'mashal hakodem. Similarly, let's talk about the mashal that we just gave with the ladder. Amar la'atzmo oy. Right? Let's say nobody's around. Let's say we said it before. We said your friend is standing there. Right now, let's say you're alone, and all of a sudden the ladder's about. What in your internal voice? So to say, oy oy oy, halavai shesulam lipo. Oh no, I really hope this ladder doesn't fall. Right? We talk to ourselves, right? V'chein adam sherav, a person who's hungry. Halavai, if only sheheli majlechol. If only I had something to eat right now. Right? Internally, we always call out. V'chadome. V'tchona zo, this quality, he dachaf tiv'i levakesh azra al kol inyan me'omed karav elav. We see that this is a proof that there's something natural. There's a natural phenomenon that is within a person to always call out, no matter what the situation is, to whoever's closest to him. Right? If you have a physical person down there going to help you, you're going to call out to him. If there's no one around, you're going to call out within yourself. It's within human nature for a person to call out. If it's the guy that's sitting next to him, he's going to call out to him. He's going to call out to him, please help me. If there's nobody near him, then he himself is close to himself. It's as if he's calling out to himself. And understand this point. Again, this is all precise. We just said this is human nature. Who created human nature? Hashem. And why did Hashem create this? This tichuna is nature of man, a bore ba'adam, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created with a man. Shekemo she'teva HaKadosh Baruch Hu lekol ba'al chai tichuna, livroach mikol mazik. We know that what's another natural phenomena that Hashem instilled in the nature of a person? Hashem instilled within the nature of a person the bracha of being able to run away from danger, of knowing instinctively what happens. You hear the explosion, you run. You hear the dog, you run. You hear the gun, you run, whatever it is, right? It's within human nature. That when you see danger, you instinctively, your first instinct is to run. It's actually against nature. You know what they say people like freeze in fear? It's actually against your teva. It's against nature. It's against nature when people freeze. It's actually not a common thing. When something's coming, nature is you run. Right? It's interesting. Another conversation. But the point is, Hashem instilled in a person, it's human nature to run. And just like Hashem gave a person eyelids to protect the person's eyes. Right? Anybody ever wonder why we have eyelids? It's to protect your eyes. Right? Anybody ever thought of this? What's the point of these little things that go like that? Because of the fact that Hashem created it, because let's say something's coming and let's say there's some sort of, some like acid or something, I don't know, sunscreen, you can close your eyes, protect your eyes. If you keep your eyes open, your eyes are going to get infected and it's going to hurt. Right? You have eyelids. That's the idea. It's natural. Hashem instilled it very precisely, these little eyelids. That's to just protect your eye. The eyelids can snap shut in just a blink of an eye, literally. Shmir Sanayim, exactly, right? Shmir Sanayim, beautiful. And then remember Sufis last year, we spoke about all these things, about the little body parts, right? Beautiful. And what's the point of the ribs? The ribs are to protect your heart. That's why we have ribs. The same concept exists with the sense of, so to speak, natural feeling inclination to be saved within a person's nefesh, within a person. Litzok ulevakesh ezra akol tzara me'akaravlo. It's a spiritual concept that Hashem instilled in every single person in the same concept, the same category of self-protection. Hashem instilled within us the ability, and not just the ability, the point is the drive and the tendency to immediately call out for help when we're in danger. Shezuhi hatzalasa. This is how we get saved, ultimately, right? Because ultimately, what happens is when the person's coming to mug you, if the first thing to do is you would, so to speak, if your human nature was to freeze in fear, that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be very helpful. But Hashem didn't do that. Hashem instilled in us the human nature to scream out for the police, scream out for somebody who's there, and that falls in the same category as the reason we have eyelids, the same reason we have ribs. Is all these pieces that Hashem instills in us to protect us. Aval hamizbonen, someone who contemplates this idea on a deeper level. There's a deeper meaning to this concept. There's a deeper thought. Teva zeh hu his orus bin hashamayim. Like we just said, that this teva is not just a simple teva. It's actually a orus. It's an awakening from Shemayim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu instilled in us. Believe kol enosh in every person's heart. Levakish al kol tzara min bekor hayeshuas davka. That Hashem instilled within us the ability to do what? The spiritual power that over every single tzara to call out to the one who is the source of all the Yeshuas and all the saving. Shekadosh Baruch Hu zeh shekarov mikol karov. That Hashem is the closest of all the close ones. V'la'amito, and the truth is, zui atzala mikol tsar. So what's ultimately the point that he's bringing here? He's saying this concept, take it even a step deeper. Why did Hashem instill this? Now, number one, in a physical sense, right? Hashem instilled in us the desire and the ability and the tendency, so to speak, to call out immediately when we're in danger. But on a deeper sense, Hashem instilled in us the tendency that we actually have the koach, if we work on it, to train that exact feeling towards Shemayim. That's why Hashem instilled it in us. Hashem said, I know it's hard for you. I know it's hard you don't see me. I know it's hard for you to call out to me. But guess what? I'm giving you a bracha. I'm helping you out. I'm giving you siyat d'shmayim. I'm giving you help from Shemayim. I'm instilling this character trait within you that automatically you look to call out to somebody. Right away. The moment you're in danger, you look to call out. It's instinctive in you. It's betev of a person. Now I'm giving you the ability. I'm giving you a head start. Now you have to work. Now you have to do your job, but it's up to you. But you have the ability to train that tendency rather than train it instinctively towards other people or instinctively towards only to yourself. You have the ability to instinctively train that physical trait, so to speak, towards Shemayim. Hashem says it is possible. I've made it possible within you to call out to me at every single moment. It's a special bracha I'm giving you as man, right? And it's the deeper level of this concept. Umuteles ala adam, and it's obligatory upon a person. Ha'avoda lahashlim teva zeh asher hutba benafsho, and it's incumbent upon a person to fulfill this, so to speak, to fulfill the purpose of this feeling that Hashem instilled with us, to actually bring it to its proper purpose. L'kashro l'mekor Yeshua samiti, to connect this tendency to the source of all Yeshuas. Ulahachnos la'atzam v'aregal teva sheni, to make it a person's second nature immediately. Liz kor tamid mihu zeh ha'omed karov elav tamid lishmoat zakaso lo'shio, to instill within a person to think about constantly who is really always standing there with me, who's always standing there that can help me. Even if I don't see a person there to grab the ladder, even if I don't see myself, or whatever it is, who can I call out to? It becomes second nature to a person. You see this all the time. We're talking about this when they said the brisket up. People who really take it upon themselves. You see Yari Shemaim. The first thing they always do is they just look to Shemaim and say, Hashem, Hashem, Hashem. What am I doing? Right? And we think, oh, it's such a high mila. Rav Shimshon is saying, he's like, no. It's like, it's a mila. But it's not such a high mila. Why? Because it's within all of us. What's the proof of that? Because immediately, instinctively, even when nobody's around, we call out to ourselves. If we can call out to ourselves for help, we can call out to Hashem. Because Hashem is real and Hashem can actually save us. Ourselves, what do? When we think, we all know that feeling. We're like, oh no, don't fall. Right? We all know that feeling. And it's like, if you could do that, and if there's clearly some sort of nature instilled in you to call out to whoever it is, anybody, then you could clearly call out, you could clearly train that same thought to call out to Hashem. Who you do know is real, and who you do know is actually there to save you. And it's possible. Ube'inyin hadechifa ativis sheyesh l'chol adam li'skarev l'kadosh baruch hu b'shas haraso. And what we're talking about, right? So this concept, this natural tendency that we have to draw close to Hashem be'etz sarasa. Lulei de ini kedai hayisi omer de eno ken klal el hepech, right? And Rav Shimshon is saying, if I was worthy to say this, what I'm about to say, I would say it, but I'm not worthy to say it, so I'm going to say it, but I'm not actually saying it. You're saying, okay, fine. El hepech says it's the opposite. What would he say theoretically if you were to say this, which he's going to say, but he doesn't mean to say? Yeah. I got you thinking over here. Mashal l'noseh ba'agola. It's a mashal. It's a parable to somebody who's traveling in a carriage. Shenidamelo she'atzei hayar rotzim l'kraso. What does it look like? We all know this, right? When you're in the carriage, or when you're in the car, so to speak, when you're driving, what does it look like? It looks like, so to speak, all the trees of the forest are rushing towards you, right? That's what it looks like. But we all know what? It's an optical illusion. Rather, because he's actually running towards them, so to speak, what's really happening? He's the one that's moving. The trees are not moving. They look like they're running towards him, but it's only an optical illusion. He's really the one that's rushing forward, right? And really, the eye is actually not able to discern who's coming towards who. It's actually an interesting thing. You guys ever think about this, right? Ever been like on an airplane? I don't know. I always see this like with the clouds, and I'm on like a plane. It's like you look at the clouds and you're like, oh wow, look at that. The clouds are moving so fast, and you realize the clouds aren't moving, you're moving, right? I don't know if you ever noticed. It's like a famous optical illusion, because your eye, like if you would have basically just like woken up in that moment after like a coma, and you just woken up in the middle of like, and you have no idea you're just in the car, like you wouldn't know whether the clouds are coming to you, or you're coming towards the clouds. Right? It's like one of those things like impossible to discern. So Cain hu b'davar zemamish says this is the same exact Indian. What's that mean? Shebesha Sarah, in a time of tzara. What's really going on? Ratza Kadosh Baruch Hu kiviyachol umiskarev la'adam desayo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running towards us in an Esar. Hashem runs towards us to help us. Kimo shekasav imo anochi betzara says in Tehillim that Hashem is I'm with the person in a time of tzara. Uli einenu nidam she'adam ratz elav yisparach. Right, but to us, and it also looks like what? That we're in Esar. What are we doing? We're running towards Hashem. It's our goal to run to Hashem, right? We need to put all this effort into running towards Hashem when times get tough around us. But what's the reality of Abba Emes Enokin? We're not that. It's just an optical illusion because what's really happening? Ella Kadosh Baruch Hu Huaratz a love lo shio. Rather, it's the opposite. Rather, it's not us running towards Hashem. It's Hashem running towards us, and we just have to be ready to. And it's up to us to simply just call out. And if we can train ourselves just to simply call out, then Hashem's going to save us. Then we're there. Hashem is there because Hashem is running towards us in every single moment to save us. It's not us. We don't need to toil and run after Hashem. Hashem is coming to us in these moments. So the concept of Bitzur that we're bringing here, again, ultimately recognizing the koach of what we have to call out to Hashem be'ez sarah in a time of distress. And Hashem is looking and just waiting for us to call out to Him. Hashem's just waiting. And I literally am doing everything in my nature. Like we tend to think that Hashem made us, so distant, so far. It's all so hard. It is hard, 100%, but it's not far, right? We know the pasuk, right? Ki karov elecha davar me'od v'ficha vavcha la'asosa, right? Ultimately, the Tanya's drashot at the very end of it all basically discusses and forget which parak, but ultimately it spends a lot of time discussing that pasuk, right? Ki karov elecha davar me'od, and we say, is it really that close? Ki karov davar is the Torah. Right, the Torah is close to every single person. Beficha, bevavcha, it's close to every person's mouth, so to speak. Bevavcha, and the time is like, is it really though? Like, I have a really hard time thinking about Hashem. I have a really hard time connecting my mind to Hashem. And what's the ikr? La sosa. Ultimately, all those things are just to get you a point of one thing, which is la sosa, which is just to do. Right, the ikr is doing, because ultimately Hashem says, it might be hard to do all these other things, but really all I want from you is just to do, and I'm giving you the tools for it. It's difficult, but you have the tools for it. I'm giving as a fact. I'm giving you everything you need, right? It might sound crazy. It might sound difficult to feel like in every moment your natural brain, your natural tendency is just going to call out to Hashem constantly. Hashem says you could do it. It's part of it. Just start trying. So just start trying. I've instilled it within you. Just always remember, if you can call out to yourself for help, you can call out to Hashem, and that's ultimately the thing. Lamaisa, this works. Be like just like the brisker Rav we said last time. He's just constantly saying, "Lishuascha kivisi Hashem, Lishuascha kivisi Hashem, Lishuascha kivisi Hashem." Ultimately, the way that we're supposed to grow in this, and Rav Shimshon is telling us constantly. Forget when you're just davening. The concept of Bitzur is that it's all the time. Whenever you're walking, we're always at an Esara. Just start talking to Hashem. Nobody hears you. Nobody's around. It's not embarrassing. Nobody knows, right? But the point is, ultimately, when you start actually discussing and just start speaking. I heard somebody once say it was like the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. He was like making fun of like seminary girls for like just like walking around talking to Hashem. I'm like, you're such an idiot. Like that's mamish amazing. That's incredible. Like, do you realize how lucky they are? Like, do you realize how like that madrega that you could just walk around and just like talk to Hashem? That was what Yosef Atzadik did, right? So that's why Mitzrayim. That was why he was so godly. Everybody looked at him and he's like, everybody had mamish Hashem because he just went around. Just the word of Hashem was just in his mouth all the time. So when we're walking around and when we're just by ourselves, start trying to accustom yourself just speaking to Hashem. You don't even have to ask for things. Just like say what's up, literally. Just like what's up, how are you? Hashem, by the way, I love you. Just so you know. Okay, I'll see you soon. Whatever it is. And I'm telling you, when you make it a reality, when you make Hashem a reality like that, when you really bring him into your life and make him tangible, that's when this tendency starts to kick in. Because it's natural. You just awaken it. Our tendency is to call out. So if we make Hashem a reality within us, even in those times that are not be'ez sarah, if we make Hashem a reality, then we make him into that friend that's always there grabbing the ladder. That if we talk to him on a regular basis and we feel like he's there, then the moment we trip and we fall, we're on our way down to the ground, we're going to call out to him immediately, instinctively, right? Because our natural tendency is to call out to somebody. And if we don't see anybody around us, we have to make Hashem our friend to call out to. The Maisa, it really works. This is like the Ikr. This will change your life. If you really take it upon yourself to try talking to Hashem like this on a regular basis, just walking around, no one's there, no one's around you, you don't have to get too deep. Just start talking. Make Hashem real. Hashem is real, so may as well talk to him. May as well make him real. Then you make him real, your natural tendency is going to be called out. Shkoyach, guys. Bez Hashem. We'll continue.